Coffee is a literal savior of every hardworking fella I know. A cup of caffeine is enough to boost their energy meter to the roof, and then poof, they began to function crazily. Coffee is the most famous drink in the world. Statistics show that every year the number of coffee consumers grows drastically, and it is envisioned that those numbers will not in any way slow down unless a scarcity happens. According to the data, 30 to 40% of the world's population consumes coffee every day. And here is a quick fact for you. In Finland, an average citizen drinks up to 4 cups of coffee. And having two 10-minute coffee breaks is required in every corporation. Oh, to be a Finn. Meanwhile, in the United States, 65% of the total population consumes coffee every day. Yes, that is a high rate of coffee consumers, but that number is nothing compared to other Northern European countries like Norway, Switzerland, and Iceland. We all know that caffeine has an addictive property that leads its consumers to physical dependence. And that is why the statistics tell us that coffee consumption has no other way but uphill. But since we are here talking about coffee, let us brew more information about it. So I welcome you to Class Act Luxury Channel, where we will be talking about the world's most luxurious things. This is your luxury girl for all seasons, and today we will talk about the most expensive cup of coffee on the planet. If you wish to delve into the world of luxury, hit the subscribe button so we can keep you updated with more of our videos. Let's begin. Number 1. Cup of Excellence. In Queen Street, Mayfair, the Queens of Mayfair opened in 2020. This store offers a cup of coffee that costs up to £50 or is equivalent to $57. Usually, a person can only spend about $2 for one cup and it's valid enough to go through his day. But if your taste buds are feeling extra posh today, you might want to avail one Ethiopian cup of excellence. Hurry up because the Queens only serve 15 cups a day. And not surprisingly, a bag per kilogram of Ethiopian beans is sold for £2,000 or nearly $2,300. But why exactly is this coffee so expensive? The coffee beans used in this coffee are not just any other coffee bean. It was harvested from Ethiopia, and it won the Cup of Excellence competition, having a grade of 91.08 out of 95. This grade was given by a panel of expert coffee connoisseurs. Another reason is that this coffee is extremely exclusive. The blend was actually bought in an auction by the Difference Coffee Co. and was offered to only one other company in the UK. For a cup of coffee that costs almost $60, you shouldn't expect a mediocre presentation. This mesmerizing coffee is served in a wine glass after it was brewed in a V-shaped filter right in front of you. I guess there is no other way of better appreciating art if the process of making it is shown just before you. Number 2. Kopi Luwak. Most often, beautiful things come from a series of challenges. A great example is a diamond. We all know that diamonds have to undergo extreme pressures before they can turn into what they're supposed to be. Well, for Kopi Luwak, that is exactly the same situation. Although the whole story is not really as inspiring as I'm trying it to be, at least you got the idea. Kopi Luwak is not the typical coffee bean that you can pick out of a tree. It underwent a process that can turn some of you off. Kopi Luwak literally translates to civet coffee. Why civet? Because it plays a huge role in processing coffee beans. The story dates back to the 18th century, when the Dutch colonized Java and Indonesia. Native farmers had been prohibited from harvesting coffee beans for their own consumption. What a cruel punishment. So, they had to resort to an alternative. Turns out civets love coffee beans and only eat beans of good quality. After digesting the eaten beans, they excrete it out of their little bum, and that's how the native farmers got their coffee beans. The difference between a normal coffee bean and Kopi Luwak is that the latter's protein was broken down during the digestion process, making the acid level much lower compared to the former. A cup of Kopi Luwak will cost you $35 to $100, and the per pound price costs $100 to $600. That's pretty costly for something that came out from a bum bum, don't you think? Since Kopi Luwak has been in high demand ever since it was exposed to the limelight, it caused a pretty harsh effect on the civet population. Some producers cage civets and forcefully feed them with coffee beans. I really do hope Kopi Luwak will be supervised and moderated for the protection of the civet population. Number 3. Elephant coffee or the black ivory coffee. Here is another similar fermentation process for coffee beans. Just like the Kopi Luwak, the black ivory coffee beans are also harvested from the feces of another animal, in this case an elephant. The idea of feeding coffee beans to elephants came from the Golden Triangle Ancient Elephant Foundation, but the Black Ivory Coffee Co. was the one who took it to another level. Blake Dinkin, the owner of the Black Ivory, tried this process with carefully selected coffee beans imported from Thailand and fed it to the elephants mixed with these giants' preferred food. The process includes picking up the feces with fermented coffee beans and handing it out to local high schoolers to wash and sun-dry it for extra income. Apparently, the Black Ivory coffee is only sold in certain 5-star hotels. A cup costs $50 and a kilo will cost you $2,500 US. Talk about exclusivity and authenticity. Just like what happens with the Kopi Luwak, this process will break down the cellulose of the beans and will bring out a certain flavor that was described as a chocolatey and cherry-like taste in a coffee. I am a bit skeptical about this, but I think this is worth a try. Especially they mentioned that this tastes like a hybrid of coffee and tea. How about you? Do you dare to try Kopi Luwak or Black Ivory coffee? Please comment down below. Number 4. Elida Geisha Natural 1029 Coffee. For 18 grams, Elida Geisha will tab you for $100. To give you a clear depiction of its quantity, 18 grams can only suffice for a cup of 8 ounces. You may be confused as to why this cup of coffee costs this much when its serving is not enough. You know what they say, quality over quantity? That mantra applies to our 4th coffee on the list. The beans that were brewed to make coffee came from high-altitude plantation. With a location like this, the climate is expected to drop to a certain degree, which causes the trees to grow slower. For production in a lengthened period of time, the cost of it will surely spike up. So to compensate for that, the price per serving of the Elida Geisha Natural 1029 coffee is catapulted to $100. As a result of this unique prolonged growing process, the beans create flavors where you can taste cocoa, passion fruit, orchid, and tangerine zest. Experts also say that it leaves a silky mouth feeling and vibrant acidity. And that's it! Another video about the world's luxurious things. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching and see ya in our next video. Ciao!